Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with another episode of Mini Monday. And today we're doing a really cute little block called Bachelor Buttons. And yes, I have one here to show everybody what it's going to look like. But this is the PDF you're going to find in our show notes or that description box. So look for the More button or the description box and click on it. And this should, and when you scroll down, you'll see the PDF there, right? So there's a whole bunch of other things we're going to talk about here today. But first, let's do our shout out. Kaylee at Kaylee Joe Likes to Sew and Venuta Sewing. Both of those channels are just, they look like these people are such talents. You guys have got to go check them out. Give them some words of encouragement. Give them some love. You know, if you like what you see there, please hit their subscribe button and tell them that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, because, you know, we got to share the joy here. We really do. Now, the quilt behind me, I always get questions about the quilt behind me. I'm going to try and add this into my introduction. This quilt is going to be after Twinkle Twinkle. So if you like the look of this geometric craziness, please stay tuned. This one's coming after Twinkle Twinkle. And you can do this in whatever colors you want, or all of the colors if you'd like. It's a really fast, simple, fun quilt to do. It actually takes you longer to quilt it than to make it, like to make the patchwork. So, but yeah, that's what's coming up next after Twinkle Twinkle. Now, Twinkle Twinkle will start February 25th, and I'm really excited about that. I'm sewing through all the steps and getting it all well ahead. Today, when we're filming, it's December 12th, so I'm kind of like, yes, I'm all excited about how beautifully this is going to fit together. And the pieces are big and fun, and you only have to make 16 blocks to make a queen-size quilt, which is really good because you don't have thousands of little pieces to do, and you can still use, because it uses strings, you can move out a lot of strings on it too. Also, you're going to find in our show notes our Zoom sew dates. Now, the first Saturday of every month from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Alberta, Canada, and that's our Zoom sew date. And the Zoom link is in those show notes or the description box below. Also, making comments, share, like, subscribe, hitting the bell. There's a hype thing that you can do now to help our channel move along a little bit quicker and helps our analytics, and that way we get to spread more joy and free patterns out to the world of quilters. We also have a Facebook group. It's so much fun in that group. We have a lot of very talented quilters in there, and it's amazing the stuff that people are posting, and it really is. And we also are providing all sorts of advice, and we have community chats. We also have a virtual sewing room hosted by Discord, which everybody seems to be enjoying. So, you know, head on over there and, you know, check it out. We also do fabric exchanges by country to keep postal costs down. So those are all fun things to do. Also, I speak for free to quilting guilds and quilting groups. No, there's no minimum number. I'll talk to pretty much everybody. I'll try to accommodate you as you and your group the best I can. And I talk about, I have the first speaking engagement. It talks about element of design, making charity quilts, and, you know, working with scraps. And the second one is going to be ready for after December of 2025. I just have to sit down and get the pictures done. So, but it's one of those fun ones. Now, if you want to get a hold of me, it's faster to get a hold of me on Facebook than it is email. But, so you can go into the Facebook, if you're part of that community, please email me there or message me there. Also, I have under the About tab, you can find my email address. So it's always fun to get a hold of me. Also, send me your shout outs. I've discovered, I don't know how many wonderful quilting channels, but with you guys sending me, you know, the shout outs requests, you know, so don't be shy about sending them out. Again, message me through Facebook or send it through my email. And I'm having so much fun giving those people a little bit of joy and a surprise. But don't tell them if you're sending me for a shout out. This is our way of sneaking around and doing something wonderful for people. Okay, so come on in. Let's get to the sewing of Bachelor Buttons. Okay, we're at the sewing machine, and I've already cut the Bachelor Button pattern up. Now, I'm only going to do 4. I'm not going to do all 16 because that would just be painful to watch. So you need a paper scissor to cut up your PDF pattern, and a rotary cutter, of course. If you have an add a quarter ruler, that's perfect because it has a little rim ridge, and it, you know, helps you square up and keep that very light. Tape is your friend, and you're going to have that close by just in case you mess up. Now, I know some of you have asked about this tracing wheel. I am using a tracing wheel for a couple of different reasons. I can now see what I am doing on the back, and I'm trying to, because it creates little marks on the back, plus it helps tear up the paper, right? I'm just using paper out of the printer, for the computer printer. I'm not using a real lightweight paper. But if you're using like onion skin weight or something really, really light, like newspaper weight, you wouldn't need to do this. But because I'm using printer paper, I need a tracing wheel just to help me get the pieces off, right? So let's start this. Now I have strips cut that make it easier for me. And like I say, I'm going to do the other 12 after. And I'll just set them to the side, and we're only going to work on the 4. Because once you see how the 4 are done, you'll sit there and go, wow, that's really cool. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, just let me get this going, is I'm going to line up my fabric and a little square. And I'm going to put this just like, oh, I did it the wrong way. How come I'm doing it the wrong way? I can't be doing it the wrong way. Yes, I am. I have to do it like this. And I want to stick out, I want like good 1/4 inch here. And I want to be able to be just a little bit over there. So, okay. This is another thing too. When you do that, you can kind of line this up a little easier. There. Now, I'm just going to cut this. Get some fabric scissors. I guess that's kind of on the needs list too. What you need to finish this. And we'll put this up just like so. And we'll get another one. Get another one sewn right like so. There we go. Actually, it was harder when I did a couple of samples because we had printed a few too many. The first one had missing lines, which, you know, I used. I put the lines in and I sewed them. But, you know, I didn't want to present that pattern to you. The one that had all the lines didn't have any numbers. So I thought, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So yeah, there was that happened. Okay, now we're just lining this up, and we just want this a 1/4 inch past this line. And yeah, we can take it down just a hair. We only have 4 pieces to put on this little tiny block. There. And there we go. Nice. There. Now, just the last one. And yeah, there's missing lines. It's just, you know, some weeks things just don't go your way, you know, and that's kind of like, it's okay that when they don't, you know, because you make it work. You figure it out and make it work. Okay, so now we've done all 4 of them, and I'm just going to clip this off just like so. There we go. Now, here. Now what I did is I ironed my pieces in between, but I'm just going to finger press these because they're so tiny. Okay, they're tiny, tiny, tiny. And there. There we go. And get the last one. Now you're going to trim this so you can sew on 3. I'm just going to move all this stuff out of the way. There. Now you're going to flip this all over. Now you're going to go between 1 and 2, and 3 is up here. Also, that tracing wheel helps you bend the fabric, right? That bending the fabric is so helpful. Wow. Okay. one. Bending the fabric is very helpful. It helps you get all of the, or bending the paper, and helps you do this part very fast. If you were doing a whole entire quilt, or you were just doing, you know, like say a few days, but your goal was to, you know, make a quilt, this would help you out so much, right? Just by doing this little tracing wheel trick. Because it is faster. It is faster. You're not sitting there trying to argue with a piece of paper that will not bend. But I'm cheap. I just buy that. Like I say, it's just the computer paper. So all these little bits I cut off are going to end up in a pet bed, because we never waste anything in this house. Okay, now the next part is, of course, putting on step 3. Now, step 3 is kind of a funky little piece, and I don't know if I will get, yeah, that'll work. That works. I'm just cutting a piece that's almost maybe a little bit too big, and I'm going to start it just so it goes past that point, because you need fabric there, right? So we're just going to run these through real quick, and there we go. Oops. There. There. Okay. Yeah. Now, the next one, you have to put it so that there's a little bit of fabric hanging over there, but it has to be long enough to be able to cover the seam it needs there, right? So, anyway, again, you just roll it through. These are such, this is what I think I like the most about foundation paper piecing, is that you get such, you can make all sorts of cool things and, you know, still have some beautiful pieces, right? You get some beautiful little things being made, right? Okay, here we go. Another one. Let's roll that under, line it up. It's a bit big, but that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. You could make this so totally scrappy. It would look absolutely phenomenal too, right? Now, I know Bachelor Buttons are blue, but all the Mini Mondays are pink and gray. I don't know why. I was kind of thinking, oh, it would be good to thin out the gray, because we don't pull out the gray very often. And then I was sitting there thinking, well, I could pull out the pink, because I like pink and gray, but not everybody likes pink and gray. And I thought, okay, and this is a Mini Monday, and now it should be like blue or something. Yeah, it's like, oh well, these are cute. So anyways, now we're pushing this up like so, getting that out of the way. And we're just going to add the 4th bit on here. Yes, we have really good coverage on everything. And now like I say, when I did the other ones, I ironed because I had time and I was at a sew date and we were giggling and talking, and I thought, yeah, let's just relax and have some fun, which is allowed. You're allowed to have fun in your sewing room. And here we go. There, get all of that trimmed. So with foundation paper piecing, you end up with a sew, press, trim, right? And that, once you get that rhythm down, you can do a lot. And when I did the other 2 blocks, I'm going to show you at the end, you know, like now instead of dealing with 16, we're only doing 4 here. But 16, I did like 32 at a time, and it becomes very quick, right? Because you're doing the same action over, you know, 32 times. You could probably do like several blocks of this, especially if you're doing it scrappy, because then it doesn't matter. Like if you're doing a low volume and blue, because you decide to stay Bachelor Buttons are blue, not pink, you know, then, you know, you could do quite a few of them and never have the same piece of fabric on the same little piecing thing, right? I mean, that's just a suggestion, right? You can do whatever you would like to do. Now I'm just going to lay this down. This piece here is a little big, but that's okay. And, okay. And I start and I sew to the point. It's a little easier for me to start and sew to the point. Let's see, how big do I need these? Really? Okay, from there to there. Okay, just get my scissors and cut that off. The part off that I don't need. Oh, look, that's big enough. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it's just a nice quick way of doing things. Now you could sew them the other way. I just feel a little more comfortable sewing toward a point, you know. Oh, and of course across the fabric. There. Yeah. Oops, let's go this way. It's just a hair bigger because it's cut at a funny little angle. Okay. And the last piece. Now, all 4 of these are done. As soon as this gets under the needle. All 4 of them are done. Oops. Okay, so there we go. Now, trimming. Okay, when we're trimming this, and one of the things I noticed with the other one, let's just finger press, some of the outer lines are not there, right? Which is like, oh dear, what do you mean the outer lines aren't there? Exactly. The outer lines, some of them aren't there. For some reason or another, it was too close to the page or whatever. Now, you're going to probably have the same problem if you're printing at 100%, right? Because you're also not going to have some of those outer lines. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to take my ruler. Now, I love this Olfa ruler. Oh my gosh, I love it, love it, love it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all of them, turn them over. So these ones, now when you put that 1/4 inch mark on the sewing line, not the seam line, the sewing line, what's left is a perfect 1/4 inch, right? Perfect 1/4 inch. So nice to have a perfect 1/4 inch in your team. And you can just move through this very quickly. But I'm going to find one that doesn't have all the corner bits. There we go. And the Olfa ruler has such fine markings. This is what I really love it. It has such fine, the lines disappear suddenly in that, where your sew line is. So there's one. Okay, I'm going to take another one. Let's take one that has, oh, okay, it doesn't have an outside line, right? It doesn't have an outside line, but it has a sewing line, right? So that is just because it was printed too close to the edge, and our printer will not print anything like that. The line is there on the pattern, the digital pattern, but yeah, when it comes to printing, it's too close. Our printer is older and finicky, and it's just the way it is. Actually, sometimes I wish I had my own printer here in my room, but that's another piece of equipment that would just take up too much space. And I already have a lot of other stuff here that is big and bulky, like camera equipment and all the rest of this stuff. But it's fun. Okay, let's do another one. Yeah. So this morning, it's December 12th, right? And I woke up and I was remembering how my dad, who's been gone like since 1998, he loved this time of year. He just thought this was the best time of year. We would always be visiting or having people over at our home, and you know, it was kind of that, you know, fun, festive part of the year. And it was about, you know, visiting relatives and, you know, visiting neighbors. My dad had this tradition of visiting the people that were shut-ins, you know, people that didn't get out into the community very often. So yeah, and it was kind of nice. Okay, so this is where the the sew line is there, but the seam allowance line is not. So you line up on the sew line, not because you don't have a seam allowance, and that's where you trim. Very simple. It is what it is. Maybe your printer won't have that problem for you, but ours does. But anyway, so we would, you know, sometimes we'd sing carols, and we'd go over there and we'd sing carols, and we'd do this. He just loved it. He just thought that was the best thing. And he loved having people over to play music and all this other fun stuff. And it was just like, yeah, it was good. And we'd all sing carols, and there'd be dancing, and there'd be waltzes played, and just all sorts of things I remember from my childhood. That's what I woke up with this morning. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool, you know. Anyways, okay. So now we're laying out this block while I'm prattling away. And now that kind of looks, it shouldn't be intimidating. Now this is how we're laying it out. This should not be intimidating, because this here, right here, is the right angle. Like, it's a 90-degree angle. So you just line up your 90-degree angles. Now I got my 1/4 inch foot, because that's what I prefer to sew on with one of these. And I'm just going to run through and line it up and sew it. So again, line up your 90-degree angle, right? Line it up. Make sure it's nice and flat. Oh dear. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, all right. That does not look right all of a sudden. Oh yeah, no, it's right. Okay, that's right. It's right. It's right. Don't. I second guessed myself for a minute. You stop when you're second guessing yourself, and you stop and you open it up and you check. That's the easiest way, right? I mean, if I made a mistake, I would have showed you how to pick it. Now, if you do make mistakes, it's okay. What you do is what you're going to do is you pick from the cloth side, not the paper side, and you can pick it off. Now, what I'm going to do, so this is what we're left with. Now, one of these gets flipped down, and the other gets flipped up the seam. So now we can create a nest. That's where that all nests, and that way you have all those lovely sharp points happening, and that will make your block look perfect. Okay, let's get that. There we go. Get that right in there, as tight as we can. There we go. Now, okay, so we're going to take this off. Now what I did, I'm going to show you what I did on the back of those other ones. Now what I did is I opened this up, because I now have a perfect nest in the front, right? Because this is what this looks like from the front. Okay, now I have a perfect nest in the back, so I'm going to pop this open, right? That's why I clicked that little seam. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press this open and push this down with your finger. You push hard. Okay, and then you push that way. And now everything's going to lie nice and flat in the front. And you've got great points. So now what I did is I sewed all 4 of them together, and then I stay stitched. And I won't do that. I'll sew the other 3 later. And but I'll show you what we did with the backs. So when we sew all 4 of them, right, this is what this looks like from the front. Right, and you have perfectly matched little points. It just looks great. Now, what you do from the back is you've got everything gets squished down, right, where you spin your points, and then it gets squished down in the middle once you make it into a 4-patch, right? So if you were making a quilt, what you would do is you would eventually end up putting, making a 4x4 again, like a 4-patch again, and then you would have a 12-inch block, finished block, right? Right now it's a 6-inch finished, 6.5-inch unfinished, right? But yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, that works. So yeah, this ends up, I use scrappy because there's 2 different fabrics on this one here, and I thought, well, we'll play around with a dark, a medium, and a light. or low volume, and with this one that I'm doing, I just played with low volumes and mediums, so that kind of gives it a different look, but you could go totally scrappy. So let's get to our ta-da moment. I'll sew the other 3 of these later, but I won't be showing them in the ta-da moment. So anyways, we'll be back with you for the ta-da moment. Okay, here's our cute little bachelor button. Yes, I know bachelor buttons are blue, but this is Mini Monday, so we did them all in pink and gray. And we did play around with some dark, medium, and low volume, or light, in these blocks, these 2 blocks. I had fun making these. These were just like, ooh, yes, we could use all sorts of little bits and bobs in there. But this one is called Bachelor Buttons, so I'm going to do the other 3 here this afternoon, so just to make another block. But yes, this is a great way of using up scraps. So I hope you give this one a try for Mini Monday. Yes, your points come out beautifully. Everything works great. Just you got to take your time. So I hope you stay well and take care and have a great week ahead until we see each other again. Okay? Bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey, and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life, and you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life, and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye, and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.